What's good, my G Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and are subscribed to the channel. You know, that is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it. You go ahead and do that, you know. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Man in Society, M.O.D, where we talk about stuff outside of the streets. Now, what I wanted to get into was conversation I was having, right, with a few homies chilling, you know, drinking. One of the homies, you know, is white. You know, he doesn't gangbang or nothing like that. He's a skater, tagger. Um, right, and they were talking about, you know, the influence that tagging graffiti has on rap, right? Because, you know, graffiti is, you know, attached to the, you know, rap scene, you know, not just in California, but like in, you know, everywhere else, you know, from New York to Chicago to Baltimore to all these places. You know, graffiti, you know, runs deep in their cultures as well, right? Not just here in California, but like in those other places as well. Um, and graffiti is a life of its own, right? Even though it's a form of street life, right? Taboo life. It's not the same as like street gangs or the gangster life, right? But it's similar. It's similar, right? The taggers have a similar, you know, thing to you know, the gangster life. Taggers more to a lower extent. Even though taggers beef it, some tagging crews beef it with gangs, and tagging crews beef it with other tagging crews. They handle their differences a lot more different, right? They're not as violent. They tend to handle their stuff more. I mean, you have occasions where, you know, people have gotten killed and shootings and stuff like that, but 9 times out of 10, more often than not, is handled through fighting or just battling on walls, right? Who's the better artist, right? Because when it comes to graffiti, there's different types of graffiti, right? Different types of styles. You know, just a whole life of its own, right? It's not just like, oh, it's graffiti, like, you know. See, with tagging crews, it's a lot more different how they represent themselves. Tagging crews tend to represent their name more than their, even if they do belong to a crew, they tend to represent their name more than they do their tagging crew, right? Like their name will be hit up really big, and then their tagging crew will be, you know, written small. While gangs just choose to tend to hit up 9 times out of 10 more their hood and not really put their names. Sometimes they'll put their names, but tagging crews, you know, make sure that they always leave their name. You know, to them it's about recognizing the artist, right? Um, that's why you see their names always big, and their tagging crew will be somewhere on there. You know, um, as you guys can see from the pictures, right? You know the type of old school crews that we have here in California. Well, here in the southern portion, right? You know, you do have, you know, crews that have been around for a long time, like TKO, OCP, you know, MSK, you know, BAM, CBS, BNW, you know, crews like that, right? That people recognize, right? If anybody's from Southern California, they would recognize these crews. They would have seen them up because they do hit up a lot, right? With their different forms of styles, you know. Because, you know, even though people just see like the graffiti, like there's different styles, like pieces, you know, which are the nice ones that people like, you know, the ones that are written all complex, you know, bombs, you know, that are bubble letters, or throw ups, you know, which is a combination, the kind of like handwriting bubble letters, right? Non-stops is like kind of like cursive writing, like it's just all together. um so there's different types of form of graffiti, right? And these people know what they're doing. You know, they, from supplies to what kind of spray cans they use. You know, from the Krylons to the even the markers, the Deco markers, and the streaks, and all, you know, all this and that, bro. Like I'm telling you, when it comes to their art and what they're doing, they know. You know, they know what they're doing. That's why their hit ups always look nice, right? It always looks you know, with a lot of colors, and it always looks, you know, solid. Because they choose the quality stuff, you know, they go and get quality spray cans, quality this and that, bro. They know, you know, because they, to them it's about art. They want it to look nice, right? And that's why, you know, even though crews beef it with each other and they cross each other out, it's always a battle of whose art is better, or this person's whack, so I'm gonna tag over his tagging because, you know, his tagging sucks. So it's a battle of skills, not overall like physicality, when it comes to tagging crews, right? Um, then you have tag bangers. Tag bangers are the ones that are crews, but they act like gangs. they're trying to be gangs, but they're not gangs. You know, they're not recognized as gangs, but they're trying to be gangs. And then they'll write LS, meaning locals, meaning that they're, they're loked out. You know, while crews tend to hit up like K's or C's, crew, standing for crew, despite if they want to write it crew with a K or crew with a C. Uh, that's why you see the C or K's tagged on, attached to their graffiti, right? To letting people know that they're not a gang, they're just a crew. And they tend to look more like rockerish, skaterish type, is there stilo to them when it comes to like taggers. But like I said, they're involved in the scene too because, they hang out. They don't have territories though. They don't have like, oh, this is our territory. To them, it's more like, wherever they go, they ride on buses, they ride on everywhere they're at. They'll tag anything and anywhere, the harder the better for them. Like if it's a spot where it's really really hard to get to, that's the spot that they like to do it because then other people could be like, man, how the hell did he get right there? How the hell did he take that? To them is the thrill and the challenge of things, right? And then like I said, different types of marker tips, size German fats and because being in the streets you bump into a lot of taggers, hitting them up because some of them do look gang related. And I have gotten to meet a bunch of cool taggers, that are down for their shit. Some homies used to be taggers. Some homies, were taggers before. Some neighborhoods were tagging crews before they turned into neighborhoods. Um, you know, but yeah, this is stuff that they used to all carry. These kind of markers and spray cans. You know what I mean? Like I said, they use quality. The Deco markers that sound like spray cans. I don't know if people remember those. Uh, they used to hook it up. I used to kick it with some taggers. They used to give me some shit. I used to be like, hey, fool, let me get some of the woo. That would give it to the homies or we go riding. I never had good writing, but the homies, they got down. You know what I mean? Pieces, that are hard to understand. See, taggers make their stuff like, damn, like there's letters in there somewhere. That's called a piece. It's kind of like it's complex, but it says something. You just got to look at it like really closely, kind of like art. How they say you got to look at art really closely. That's, and then you got bombs that are like bubbles. Bubble letters. Those are the bombs. That's what they're called. When people hear bomb, attached to the crew's name, like Cali Bombing Squad, that's what they mean by bombs. Like those kind of bubble letters are called bombs, so that's what they mean with bombs. When they say that they're going and bombing freeways, that's what they're talking about there. The bubble letters, um, you know, to their style. You know what I mean? And like I said, 9 times out of 10, they'll say the artist's name. They tend to write their name. That's flair. Flair's kind of like um, it widens on top. You know what I mean? That's for the experienced taggers, man. They know how to use all that, bro. That's like, you know what I mean? So yeah, those are all flare styles. You see how they just flare up at the end? That's for the skills, it takes skills to use that kind of stuff, some amateur tries to go, is going to look all beat up, but those are the non-stops I was talking about, kind of like cursive, you know what I mean? Um, it's kind of like handwriting, sort of, you know what I mean? Those are the non-stops because you non-stop when you write it, like the thing doesn't lift up the wall, or the paper or whatever wherever you're tagging on. And yeah, you know what I mean. It is talent, right, and creative writing, and skills on how they make their letters look and the colors that they use and all this and that. But see, gang members, we're not about that. Like to us, it's about we're just there to write, just plain and simple, readable. We're not looking to do all this and that. To us that's not important. That's just to let the enemies know that you guys were there, or to let people know that you guys were at your spot. But it's not to wow people with how great it looks. Even though there is homies that get down, with some hitters, but that's not the goal overall. It's a message being sent. While artists to them is more about the artwork of things, right? That's what separates the groups, right? While one is actually in it for the art, and these guys are not. They're just making a statement. Same with black gangs, you know what I mean? The black gangs too, they even take it further beyond that, because black gangs tend to always do drawings, right? They draw like however they diss their enemies, they'll put a picture up there and then they'll put a sentence like, "Hey fool, we came looking for you guys. You guys weren't here, but if you want to catch a fade, catch me at the park tomorrow, like around 5. I don't know if 5's good for you, but if not, get back at me at this wall right here and let me know if you're down for that fade. If not, we could reschedule." They'll tag like all that on the wall. They put big ass sentences like, "Damn, my boy, like you really had to put all that." I'm not even lying, bro. I have seen some fools put all kinds of crazy shit. I seen fools put like on one alley. It was by South Central, right? I want to go. We were looking. I think me and my girl were looking for a spot to buy like one of those pools or whatever. We were in the somewhere over there in South Central, and I went into an alley to come out to the other side, right, because I missed my turn, and it was a blood neighborhood, and they had put that, "Oh, be quiet, you weenie, because the last time I came through, you didn't even want to come out," or something like that, bro. But they put that whole entire set. I'm like, damn, my boy wrote the whole sentence, homie. Sheesh. It's crazy. But that's it's a trip. They get down like that, yeah. And I've seen it multiple times, but it's crazy. Um, but overall, homeboys, we just write, the neighborhood, and that's it. It's not about all this and that. But it's what separates. But like I said, taggers, do get down with each other and stuff, disrespecting their art or whatever. But it's rare that they take it to that extreme level of violence. But they will if they have to. You know what I mean? If some of them are, daring enough. But see, the crew in itself, their members are not in it for, drug sales or even violence, right? Some of them are just in it for the art, even though there's probably members in that crew that could get violent. Overall, the crew, their homies are not really about that life, right? That's why when some tagging crews leap to become neighborhoods, a lot of their members left the crew behind because they didn't want to be associated with violence and stuff like that, because they're not about that life. They were just about the art, to them, it was the thrill of tagging. It was not about hurting people, while gangs, hurt people. You know what I mean? People are aware that this is the activities that come with it, right? While taggers is like, nah, this is not what I signed up for. You know what I mean? And tagging crews, to them, I mean, some crews do jump their homies in, or you have to get jumped out, but normally crews don't do that. Normally, they come, if they have to be good enough at tagging, like their tagging has to be good in order to be accepted. That's how they get accepted. Like they have to have good shit. If they're whack at tagging, they don't take them in. Normally how crews do it. Now the local ones, the ones that try to be gangs, those are the ones that are jumping fools in and jumping fools out because they're trying to be like gangs. But overall, original like tagging crews, they don't get down like that. They battle. I seen crews have disagreements and have met up places and have battled it on walls. Whoever does the best artwork, you know what I mean? It's crazy, That was a bit. I would have just took flight. Yeah, but overall, it is attached to the hip hop scene. All throughout, everywhere you see graffiti, always in the hip hop world, even in groups from back then, even to people like Will Smith in his rap. You see all the graffiti. Like I said, graph and graffiti has always been attached to the rap scene. It's a part of the hip hop, because it's a taboo lifestyle overall, right? But what do you guys think? Leave your opinions in the comments. Like I said, obviously tagging is not accepted in society, and you shouldn't do that, right? Because it's still breaking the law. You should stay in school and not risk your freedom. But overall, I'm just stating, the facts on is attached to the hip hop, and how it goes and how it is. But yeah, it is a waste of time, but it's a lifestyle that actually exists and that people live. But overall, that's my opinion. Shadow, we out.